Welcome everyone to Gamer Meld. Today we have some huge news with some insane clocks on AMD's next Gen Ryzen as well as a leaked benchmark. Nvidia is something super coming, and Navi could actually come with some much needed architectural changes. But first, check out today's sponsor, Drop, formerly known as Massdrop, a group buy website with amazing deals on PC hardware. It's free to sign up, so what are you waiting for? Start saving now by visiting the link in the description below. From everything we've seen, the Ryzen 3000 series announcement is just days away, and typically when a product is this close to launch, the leaks get really accurate. And that's not necessarily because the information is easier to get or anything, but more because the company themselves actually have the final details. For example, I'm sure AMD didn't even know the final clock speeds of 3rd Gen Ryzen a year ago. Sure, they had expectations, but these things take time. And this brings me to today's first story. Adore TV has given us a pretty spectacular leak on the upcoming CPUs. Now, just because this is so close to launch doesn't mean it's right. With that said, the source who leaked this isn't the initial source we saw from last year's leak, and this source actually wasn't sure of the clocks at the time and only knew they'd have a 16 and 12 core AM4 chip. The source is also someone who, according to Adore TV, has been right about quite a few things. For example, the source told him that the X570 has issues with heat. Then, X570 pics began surfacing with huge heat sinks or actual fans on the motherboard itself. Whether that's an issue for you or not, it at least helps with the source's credibility. Of course, with that said, while this is the time leaks are most accurate, we also can't know for sure. Alright, so what did he say? Well, while Adore TV didn't give all the information out that he has, he did reveal that we're looking at both 12 and 16 core CPUs, though the 16 core may not actually release until after the 12 core. When it comes to clocks, there's apparently a 16 core with a 3.2 GHz base and 4.3 GHz boost clock, which is really similar to a benchmark found by Tom Apisak. And that's seriously impressive. Until we get to the 12 core CPU, which according to this, in fact reaches a 5 GHz boost clock. That's right, 5 GHz. Now, to be honest, even I'm quite surprised by this. I didn't see it going so much higher, and especially with 12 cores. But if this is right, 3rd Gen Ryzen will be a beast. And the thing is, it doesn't stop there. He also received a supposed Cinebench benchmark from his source that's almost too good to be true. The benchmark was of a 16-core Ryzen part at 4.2 GHz, and it scored 4,278 on Cinebench's multi-core score. Just for reference, Intel's 16-core i9-7960X needs to be clocked at around 4.8 GHz to match that score. Basically, I'd be pretty skeptical about this part at least, especially since we've only really heard about a 15% IPC increase so far. Still, if this is true, especially with such high clocks, things are seriously looking up for AMD's CPU department. Next up, Nvidia released a fairly short teaser about something super coming. What's great is that it was shared on the company's GeForce YouTube channel, so it's definitely gaming related. Unfortunately, that's pretty much all we know. Could it be the recent leaks regarding a Turing refresh? If so, that likely means they'll be getting a little more than just faster RAM. Hopefully we'll find out more at Computex next week. And speaking of, make sure to subscribe because I'll be covering the news that comes out of Computex, and I'll be doing a stream Monday for AMD's big event. Lastly for today, AMD's Navi could be far more interesting than we've been seeing, and it could explain why the engineers are having such trouble. According to a leak by the well-known leaker Komachi, Navi is making a huge departure from their previous architecture by overcoming the shader limit in GCN. Now, the tweet has since been deleted, and the account actually was sent to private, which tells us he shared something he wasn't supposed to, or he's in big trouble for being wrong. Basically, it doesn't give or take validity from the point. Let's just say I hope it's true, because according to the diagram he shared, AMD has been able to get their GCN architecture to move up to 8 shader engines. This gives it a wider pipeline to help with efficiency and ultimately makes the GPUs faster without having to up the clock speeds. There's also 5 CUs across each shader engine, and assuming each CU has 64 stream processors, this diagram shows a total of 2,560 stream processors. Basically, this is right in the mid-range which we were expecting, but Navi actually has a chance at bringing some far faster cards with their higher tier GPUs. Fingers crossed. So while that does it for today, how many cores are you wanting out of 3rd Gen Ryzen? Do you just need a really fast 6-core that doesn't break the bank, or are you ready for 16 cores? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you liked the video, definitely make sure to subscribe. And as always, have a great day.